Tuesday, the race is on to win a downstate casino license. Will Albany legislators greenlight plans to turn Parkland into gambling projects? Read the latest at Newsday.com. Sarra Sounds Off is brought to you by Roll Up Awnings.
Welcome back to Sarra Sounds Off. I am excited for this week because we have a special guest. We will open the show with Sachem legendary coach Risa Zander, multiple championships, league, county, Long Island State. She did it all. Empire State Games gold. She coached all the great players from the 70s into the 80s. This woman was amazing, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. Here's Risa Zander. Were you surprised we were doing such an in-depth look at girls basketball?
Absolutely. I think it's great. I would read about the boys basketball and think, okay, when is it going to be their turn? Because the young women, especially 70s and 80s, what they accomplished, what happened, and how it grew, I think it's fantastic. And I think it's a testament to them.
Girls basketball, I learned so much that it used to be 6-on-6. It was different. They had different rules. It was just a different game. When did that all change?
There was no team uniforms or anything. We would take off the girls basketball uniform and hand them to the girls volleyball team. And then when they went to 3 sports, the state mandated 3 sports, that was the beginning of the evolution. Because 20-game schedules, home and away, leagues were by population rather than location. We started a movement in a sense of we want the gym set up the same way as the boys. The kids should have new uniforms or have their own uniforms. I had a parent once say to me, "Oh, your kids are rough." And I said, "No, they're not. They're tough." Honestly, looking back at everything, it was the young women who played for me and the other schools that became dedicated, really just started to blossom.
I think girls sports also, in effect, and you were a big part of this, took off with the Empire State Games. And you brought all those great players together for tryouts to represent the different regions in the Empire State Game.
And we had tryouts, Nassau, Suffolk. We tried to get sites. And it was an unbelievable, most wonderful experience for me, but for them. We had to sue the school district for Title IX, not only equal pay, but equal everything for these kids, et cetera. And, I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of, you know what I mean? Because somebody had to fight for these kids. And it wasn't just me, but we're thrilled we did it.
So Newsday started to acknowledge girls basketball even more so in 1984 when we had our first all Long Island team. That had to be exciting. And some of the great players that were on that team. Take me through, who were some of the great players of the 80s?
Oh, well, first of all, I think I remember we were playing Wyandanch, and she could be Division I, she could be Division I, You have Flo Jackson, who I just adored, Kelly Watts, I think it was a little overlap, of course, Sue Wicks. Senator Riches beat Center Reach in the first round of the playoffs one year. And I called Nancy Cole, was the coach, and I said, "Nancy, what happened?" She said, "Have you seen this kid play?" Nobody knew of Sue Wicks because they were out east and they didn't cover out east. And honestly, I got a call from Teresa Grentz at Rutgers. She said, "Do you know any big players?" I said, "Check this kid out. Nobody knows her."
Who would be the top 3 to 5 players of all time on Long Island? I know you followed it, and I know you followed the series.
Carol Walderman of Center Reach. I think Barbara Durham. I think of Kelly Watts.
Kelly Watts of Bayshore.
Absolutely the most pure shooter I have ever seen. I told you about Eileen McCann.
Yeah.
Eileen McCann today would be all over your headlines.
I investigated what you told me, and she made the team. Did you notice I made the change?
Yes.
Who was it?
Danielle Hurley.
That's right, from Comac. You were right. Her numbers in her college career, everything she did, phenomenal. The girls have taken it to that next level.
Absolutely. I mean, at that time, I had a player who was recruited by UConn but UConn wasn't UConn. So Colorado and Wake Forest and, really good programs.
I'm going to give a shout out to Warren Fuller of Wyandanch, who was one of our coaches of the decade. You were also. And Ollie Mills.
Yeah, Rich Castellano.
He's got to be considered one of the greatest coaches of all time, Rich Castellano. You had Sue Wicks, the pioneer, averaged almost 40 points per game, went on, had a terrific career in college and in the WNBA. Number 2, Nicole Kazmarski. Nobody packed the gym like Nicole Kazmarski. The first real nickname of a girls basketball player on Long Island, Kaz.
Nicole would come to my gym as a young player. She would come in and shoot around and play around and stuff like that on the side with her brother while practice was going on. And I said to her one day, "What position do you want to play?" And she said, "Point guard." And I said, "Why?" "Because I want the ball." And that's exactly the attitude you want. I am going to tell you, though, and I have to give one thing. Her older sister was the original Kaz, who ended up going to NYU and had a fantastic career.
Carrie Kazmarski.
Carrie Kazmarski.
Sue Bird played at Syosset, left, went to Christ the King. Then she went to college, made a name for herself, 12-time WNBA All-Star, 3-time champion. I mean, Sue Bird, it doesn't get any better than that. And then the last one was the nickname Boogie. She was a 4-time State Federation champion, a 3-time Newsday Player of the Year, Lauren Boogie Brzezowski. So this is where we are in girls basketball. You set the foundation. You must be so proud.
I am, and I'm proud of where a lot of these, I think as a teacher and as a coach, you don't realize what effect you have maybe on young women because you're doing your job, you know what I mean? And it was a passion. And I was blessed with great kids and great parents.
Wow, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, Risa. We appreciate you joining us here on Sarra Sounds Off. And now we're going to check out JK's trip over to St. Anthony's. That's Jolie Katzen. She checked in with the #1 ranked lacrosse team in the country over at St. Anthony's in South Huntington.
We play just to play. We love playing the sport, and that's why we do it.
The St. Anthony's girls lacrosse team enters this season ranked #1 in the nation, coming off of an undefeated season that finished with the program's 5th consecutive state title.
We're very grateful for that. Pressure is certainly a privilege. We understand that our opponents are going to give us their best game, and we're certainly going to give them our best game as well.
It's always good being there, but I don't think we think about it that much. I think we play every day is we just take every game, every practice day by day, and we really just work for what's next to come.
What's special about this Friars team is their competitiveness. Their roster is loaded with talent with nearly 30 Division I lacrosse commits.
It's very competitive and we push each other every day, and it's really good preparation for the next level.
It's a great atmosphere, just playing against great players every single day.
What makes this St. Anthony's team so successful goes beyond how they play on the field. It's the friendships they've created off the field.
The most special thing is the bond. Everyone's from all over Long Island, and everyone just coming together and sharing each other's interests on and off the field. The chemistry is just really, really amazing here. It's like a sisterhood here, and we really do love playing with each other, just being around each other, and that really helps on the field.
Another challenging national schedule lies ahead for the Friars. And after losing 20 seniors last year, Coach Messina is excited to see what this new group will accomplish.
I believe last year was really special, but I'm excited to see the type of flair that this team is going to put on their successes.
I'm so excited. We have a great schedule lined up ahead of us, and all of our seniors are ready to give it their all for their last one.
Jolie Katzen, Newsday TV.
Great job, Jolie. Those girls at St. Anthony's, they are amazing. Hopefully they have a great year and stay #1 all season. We'll see you again next week on Sarra Sounds Off.